Alright, so I got the other 4 plates cut out. They're actually all not the same size as this. But right now, the only thing I care about being the exact same size is this back part. It's going to determine how wide my bars are when I glue them to this plate. If I am showing you something that is off camera, guys, it's because I've made another makeshift tripod to hold my cell phone and I can't really see the screen very well. Okay, so anyway, like I was saying, from right here to right here, which is where the 2 bars are going to sit on the side, will determine how wide apart the bars are going to be at the front. So just to make them look uniform, that's the only part I care about right now on this, because I'm going to go back once it's all glued together and sand this down around and make it have a nice shape to it. Alright, so I don't really take measurements anymore. I just use the slide rule. And according to my slide rule, you probably can't see the measurement on there, but it needs to be at the 15. I don't care what 15 means anymore. Centimeters, millimeters, doesn't matter to me anymore. It just needs to be at the 15. So I know now that since the center of my bar needs to go all the way back to the 15 for the total length, first thing I have to do is take away from this distance, half of this distance actually, because it's going to take up space when I glue it to the bar. So I'm going to slide it in the amount of that, half that distance, which I've already measured so I know where I'm going. Also, on this piece, right about here in the center of this little plate, there's going to be a hole drilled where I'm going to mount a spindle. I don't have to adjust for this, where that hole is going to be, but I do have to adjust for where that hole is going to be, and it still can't be 15 because I have to make a spindle and there's part of this sticking out. So this part sticking out, I have to adjust for that, which is about another 2 clicks on the slide rule. The reason I have to adjust for that excuse me, is because it's going to stick out further than where the actual A-arm is, so it would push my tires out too far. I hope that made sense. If it doesn't, once I get it assembled, I think I can point it out and show you exactly what I'm talking about, and it will make sense. Okay, all the pieces are laying side by side where they need to go. I haven't glued anything together yet, but this gives you a general idea of where you need to be right now and what it's going to look like. Your centerpiece here, where it's cross pepper material, I said I measure for the width. It's the center there. I don't know if you can see the marks on camera, so I'll point this out. That is where I want the center of my ball joint plate to be. It's centered with this. You could draw out a piece of paper to make sure your center and make sure you get it nice and square. I'm going to be eyeballing this one because usually what I do, a good tip for you, if you got to lay little pieces like this on the table to glue them together to make sure they stay flat, flat when you put them together, go to the grocery store or your favorite convenience store or whatever you got to do, pick up a roll of wax paper. The glue won't stick to the wax paper. The parts won't stick to the wax paper when you glue it, but it doesn't matter how much runs off. You can just take it right after it dries, take this piece and pick it up, and it will not be stuck to the wax paper. Great little tip, because I can guarantee you, since I don't have any and I'm building this is going to get stuck to this, and I'm going to end up having to gently cut it off. So yeah, wax paper is your best friend. Alright guys, so the most difficult part of this build is now done, gluing it together. Out of everything I do, all the custom work I do, I gotta say the building control arms is the most difficult thing I do. Only because the parts are so small, and you're working with so many together and trying to keep them all straight. The actual building and cutting it out and designing is not so bad. It's just putting it all together. Because there's, again, size of my fingers compared to the A-arm. So that makes it a little more difficult. The easiest way I do this, actually, normally I don't cut this little plate. I'm doing this just to show you guys the nicest way I know to do this. Normally what I've been doing lately is just actually bending these rods and gluing them together up here at the tip, and then I cut a little plate out and set it on top of those rods and glue it in place. You really can't see these once you get it together anyway. So it looks just fine like that to me. Just glued on top of the two rods. It's a whole heck of a lot easier to put together too. But I'm building the most difficult thing I know to build now, just to show you every option that I know to use. So right now what I'm going to do is cut on my lines. I'm going to cut that center section there out. And then I'm going to leave the same amount that's hanging over this side of the rod on this side to make it look like bushings. And then I'm going to sand this down, make it kind of a rounded looking shape. And that control arm will pretty much be done, other than drilling the 3 holes that I'll have to drill. Alright, so that one's finished up. I don't know if this looks better in the dark or in the light. The light, can't see anything. Dark, really dark. Anyway, that's how it would mount. It's going to stick inboard just a little bit on that lower A-arm and mount right there. Okay, pull this out of here. Show you the bottom side. Yeah, just like this over the frame rail. It'll mount like that. So what I'm going to have to do now is drill a 1/16 inch hole, or excuse me, 1/32 inch hole through there. I'm going to have to drill a 1/32 inch hole through each of these 2 ends. And then I'll run a piece of piano wire through these 2, through the cross member and to the other side. And that's what I hold it in place, and it'll move up and down. Now again, I don't want mine to move up and down, but that's just the way I do it to set the suspension to the height I want, and then I glue it in place. I also have to drill a little hole right through the center of that, right there, for my spindle to stick through to hold it in place. And that honestly is something you don't have to do. You could just glue your spindles in place. I've done that before. I like the look of drilling a hole and putting a rod through it. That way it looks like, you know, the ball joint on the other end, you know, the cap part of it. But you don't have to do that part. I may even go to the extreme on this and put the 3 little rivets up top that would hold the ball joint in place. I've done that one time using some 10,000 inch stock. You can't even see it on the model I've done it on. I try to look up inside the tire every now and again just to see the 2 hours worth of work I've done to do that, and I can't see it, but I'll show you what I'm talking about maybe if I get the courage up to do it. Again, it's kind of a waste of time, but it does add to the detail of these. But that's it. One lower A-arm complete, probably 45 minutes worth of time into it. Now I've got to start the other one. Once I get those 2 built, I'll start building my spindles and show you how to do that.